Good evening, everybody. Just to reiterate again, welcome to this Planning Advisory Committee B for the Town Council. Can I just remind everybody, this meeting is recorded. It'll be on the internet in a few days' time, so as long as everybody's happy with being seen on the internet, you're welcome to stay. We have a few bits of housekeeping to go through first, and I'll explain to you the planning system as such. Some of you might have heard it before, but I think out of courtesy, anybody hasn't. I always believe that I should tell you how the system works, or sometimes doesn't work, but we'll try it. So I'm just going through our agenda. So apologies for absence. I think we're all here tonight, aren't we? Good. Declarations of interest.
Yes. Chair, I actually have two. First of all, 518-1524, which I think is 69B, the High Street, that one. And I will leave the room because I know the applicant personally, and she's my manicurist for many years.
Okay.
And also 518-2110, which is 42 Alfred Garden, and is therefore more or less opposite where I live.
Thanks very much indeed. Nobody else got anything? No? Good. So I haven't got any declarations of interest either. Right. We've got the minutes of the committee that was held on the 7th of August. Being circulated. Everybody happy to sign them?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Are you okay? No, okay. So just take me a second to sign these. Do we have any public questions in accordance with our standing orders?
No.
Thank you. Right, I understand we've got two letters of objection, one regarding 9 Alders End Lane and 1 8 Horsley Road. Is that still correct?
Well,
and we've got one for sorry.
Yeah, Harpenden Road we've received, and we've received further letters of objection regarding 9 Alders End Lane and also Red Cliff.
Oh, indeed, yes. Both of which we will be, the two of us will be discussing later, so I understand, and we'll obviously acknowledge the letters. Right, before we go through the applications, for the benefit of our audience, can I just explain? We at the Town Council discuss a proportion of the applications that the Town Council receives covering Harpenden. Not everyone, as any of you who've had a chance to look at the agenda will realise, some of them we don't need to discuss because we're not experts in discussing that particular aspect of planning, or indeed it's just a window change or something which the district councils are more qualified to make a decision on, which we don't actually need to. We make comments, but it doesn't come under our jurisdiction to make actual planning advice on it. I have to explain quite clearly, we have no power. We make comments, and the comments are acknowledged by the district council. The officers might read our comments, might ignore them, or might do something. But in the long run, we actually cannot change any planning decisions. we come under the umbrella of the district council. Now, the district council have obviously planning officers and that there. If an application is controversial enough, and I think certainly two on our list I know of tonight are already being what we call called in. That's where a district councillor calls it in for discussion by the committee at the district council on what we call Plans North. Plans North covers Wheathampstead, Redbourne, Harpenden, and at that we're, a committee of 8 people will actually make an ultimate decision on the planning application, guided by our officers. I should declare I sit on that planning committee, so if I know that an application is going to come to Plans North already, I won't take too much detail other than giving out the rest of my committee here facts regarding any particular application. I'm happy to take questions if anybody's not sure about anything, but to try and understand, I try and emphasise it throughout the place that if we say tonight we think the application should be turned down, that thoughts are conveyed to St Albans that they will make the ultimate decision. Now, after the application has been decided, be it by the officers, if it doesn't come to committee, or indeed the committee, the only resort then for an applicant, if it has been turned down, and I say if it's been accepted, that's a fait accompli, but if it's been turned down, the applicant can go to the planning inspectorate in Bristol, and they will make a final decision other than going to a court. So we see every week half a dozen applications from the district where people have decided they're not happy with the decision on the refusal basis, and they go to the inspector in Bristol. The inspector in Bristol looks at all the facts and then makes an ultimate decision on whether to accept the planning application or indeed to refuse it, to confirm what the officers have already said in St Albans. Does that explain roughly how the system works as such? I'm always at the end of the phone. As I said, I sit on both planning committees. I'll always help you or guide you any way I can do. Okay? Right. We'll move forward. As I said, we will do the 4 applications we know about with people here tonight and a courtesy to you all. Anybody's welcome to stay. It's a public meeting in that respect. So, top of the list, we'll do 4 High Elms. What page is that on?
17.
Thank you very much. Right. So this is planning application 5, 2018, 1881. And the proposal is for the subdivision of the plot and the existing dwelling into 2 4-bedroom semi-detached houses following part single, part 2-storey sidings and rear extension with integral garage and conversion of roof space to habitable accommodation with front and rear dormer windows. The removal of the existing conservatory and alterations to the openings, associated landscaping and parking. 4 High Elms, and I believe we have a speaker, Mrs. Sandra Clark.
Yes.
Yes. So, if you'd like to, come and sit at the top there.
Thank
and
you.
have a stay, and then the committee will. Okay. What I should say is, this is one of those applications I referred to earlier that is coming to Plans North in 2 months' time. Okay, with your say.
Okay, thank you. Hello,
Okay.
I'm Sandra Clark from Edwin Homes. We're a small local development company, just based on myself, and we actually do really care about the products that we produce, and we go to great lengths to research and look at the environment within which we are building and developing. We take great pride in creating homes that people can live in and take our responsibility very seriously to give good and fair living space to a wide range of society. Our application is in Harpenden Conservation Zone, which is divided into various areas and have differing and defining characteristics. Some, but not all of West Common, is in Conservation Area M, which is described as can be seen to be expressing the ideal of well-to-do urban living at the turn of the century. This bears similar witness to the aspirations of the interwar period. High Elms is in Conservation N, that of Hatching Green, which is detailed as a mix of detached, semi-detached, terraced and other detached houses dating from the 1930s to the present day, and are generally similar in character to those in Area M. We've strived to ensure that our product ensures the integrity of the conservation area, and that is maintained, whilst providing additional homes for families who might otherwise not be able to afford such a lovely location. We have not looked to change the aesthetics of the road, and indeed gone to great lengths to ensure that the street scene remains unchanged, and does so in the long term. The house will look exactly the same as it does now, with a side extension as detailed on drawing 1306-1116D, which is in fact smaller than the currently consented extension to the property. We acknowledge the concerns of some of the residents and understand that change causes uncertainty, but in terms of other buildings being converted, St Albans Planner and yourself, Harpenden Town Council, obviously take each application on its own merit, not on the basis of what may happen elsewhere, and therefore other homeowners who applied for such conversion would be subject to their own appraisal at that time. We therefore feel very strongly that there is no demonstrable harm to the conservation environment, as there is more than adequate parking, and indeed the level of cars would be the same should the larger consented extension be built. The look and feel of a large detached house with one door and a carriage driveway remain, and both homes would be situated in large plots, creating lovely homes in an area that really should be more accessible to homeowners in this day and age.
Okay.
That's me. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything.
No.
All right. Okay, thank you.
As I said, it has been called into Plans North, so I'll give a few facts, but I won't go into detail of the conversation, but over to you, colleagues. What's up with that?
Well, basically, I've looked at this, and I think they're very large plots, and I don't think this will detract from the area. I personally think it's actually quite a good idea, because it will give more homes, more people will be housed. That's my opinion.
I really like this idea, and I appreciate the efforts that have been gone to make sure that it still looks in keeping with the current dwelling, and also create great living space for future occupants. I also don't, because of the size of the plot, I don't have an issue with the proposed extension to make this happen. The only question that I had, that's what I was trying to find, was about parking and how many parking spaces there were for each house, because I wasn't quite sure.
There's plenty of parking.
Yeah, I don't have an objection to it.
Yes, I understand that there are concerns, or some residents there will have concerns that the precedents, regardless of the appearance of creating semi-detached dwellings, I think one has to take cognizance that is, however they look, a change in the street scene. Having said that, the design is such that it is not, or should not really materially alter that street scene, and I think I can't see any real reason other than that. I don't see any reason to refuse.
Okay. The other thing I'll say is, obviously, in the plans we've got in front of you, there is a house permission has been granted for a house, what is in the back garden as such, which is obviously half the top of the back already is there. The other thing is that high elms, all the properties in high elms have covenants on them for one dwelling, right? And I know that at the last Plans North meeting it was brought up, the applicant did say at the meeting that the covenant could be broken. Now, I understand that there may be a legal challenge at the moment, but that's hearsay, and that. Now, the other thing that concerns me is that in the, you haven't had a chance to read it, but I have, in the planning and access statement, the applicant has stated that any future development on the current application will be secured by covenant. Now, I'm sorry to say, you can't have it turned down one on one side and implemented on the other. So I am a little bit, I need district council officers to confirm which one we should actually understand. I'm not going to say any more. That was the only thing that I could pick up from in that respect. I need legal guidance.
So can we
subject to?
Can we say subject to resolution of issues around?
Well, I think we need legal guidance.
We need legal guidance
because I think
it's not
when
a
it
covenant is a legal matter.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's not a planning matter.
It's not a planning matter. A covenant's not technically
I am reluctant to approve something which could be challenged at a later date.
Yeah.
So that's my own thoughts. Speaking from the chair, I've had to read a bit more into this one, and obviously the fact that it's been called in, I won't vote, but if the rest of you are happy with.
I'm just wondering, in those circumstances of covenants, whether we should have some sort of wording to them, which I think we have done from time to time, that given need to resolve legal position around the covenants, recommended that we refer the matter to
I think we need guidance for
so
legal.
we recommend simply that the applications referred to Plans North, which already has been, I know,
Yeah.
but does that seem sensible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we put something at the beginning of that, like the committee appreciated the efforts in this application to maintain the street scene and also provide additional housing within this area. However, we're not going to be making a judgment because of the covenant, or as in like whatever we just like say however and then go on to say what we've just said.
Yeah, I mean we can say it's up to the committee how they want to say it, but we can say that we're not against this application, but concern is raised regarding possible legal challenge on the covenant that exists on this site. I mean, I know that the application for the house in the, for all intents and purposes, in the back garden, for 4-bedroom house has already been approved. So that, but it's other people, other residents in High Elms are concerned that they've been stopped doing things because of this covenant. I know it's been overridden in a couple of cases, but other people have said, well, we were told we couldn't. And I think legal people need to guide before we approve something. It's a civil thing, not a planning, but I would like guidance, because it's a covenant is quoted in this application, and if it's not right on the existing property, it shouldn't be right on the...
you can't have it too late.
No, so it's on the, if you read it, it's in the, what's it called, access statement?
Design and access.
Yeah, design and access statement, it's about 12th page in that. So, I mean, I will be raising this at Plans North and will ask for clarification. So it's up to you how you want to vote. I keep quiet.
Then could you just read back to what you've got?
I've just been making notes. I haven't actually
Okay,
got. I was
cool.
going to ask you to come back with
Yes, because I was going to say, whether we do active or to vote, or whether we just simply say that no objection, or something along the lines of in principle, no objection. However, note that there are issues surrounding governance, therefore recommend that therefore members must refer to council.
Yes, I'm happy with that.
Are we happy with that?
Yeah,
Right.
that's where I got to.
No objection,
Sorry,
sorry.
Alison, you understand the problem that we've got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't ask you any questions
Okay.
because, sorry, I don't want any answers because it's coming to Plans North, which is a bit more serious. Sorry, we're serious here, but I would rather you've heard my concern. The planning officers in St Albans are legally qualified. You know, I'm trained, but I'm not legally qualified to sort this problem out. And I'd rather have legal guidance.
Yeah.
So we're not saying no, we're not saying yes.
Yeah.
We're putting it to them to guide us.
Okay.
I mean, you know the system, because the one in the back garden came to Plans North.
Yes.
It's 1, 2, 3 months down the line. It will come, and we'll get a lot more information.
I'm not allowed to go into
No.
that.
Sorry, I'm pretty generous normally, but because of the situation that, well, certainly I'm in as the chair, I'd rather not, because it might conflict something that you then want to stay at the your Plans North meeting. I'm sure you'll come and speak.
We're not lawyers, and therefore we can't
No,
get
we're
into
not
anything.
lawyers.
This is a legal aspect we cannot get into.
You know the legal challenge probably better than I do. I've only heard this hearsay.
Well, we don't actually have one.
No, all right, fair enough. So I only know because I've been told by several neighbours in Highams what's going on. I will wait it with interest. Thank you for coming,
Thank you.
and you've heard as far as we can go.
Okay, that's lovely.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your support.
Right, team, thank you for that. Sorry to... Right, stay as long as you like.
Okay,
you can go at any time. Yes, please. We don't make people stay all night. It's going to be a long meeting, so no. Right, team, page 20. Right, this is application. Okay, so you're on page 20? This is 2018-1718. It's a replacement dwelling at 9 Alders End Lane, Harpenden. What I should say, I know we've got speakers here tonight to speak against. What I should say, similarly to the last application, this has been called into the Plans North Committee. So, other than give facts, I won't be voting or saying too much about this one, but I'm grateful to hear. So we've got Jonathan or Mr. Nax.
Yeah.
David Nax, who's here. Yeah, please get a seat at the end. Officially you've got 3 minutes, but I'm not too tight with the timing, but have your say.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to represent the views of objections of various neighbours and residents of Alders End Lane. So turning firstly to the validity and accuracy of the application bundle. Question 14, the existing use. The applicant has answered that the property is not vacant. In fact, it is vacant, and it's been vacant since November 2017. Question 15, trees and hedges. They answer that there are none. In fact, there are some, and they're quite important ones, and we'd expect to see a tree and bat survey with the application. Question 25, the applicants have signed that they're the sole owner, and they signed that on the 22nd of June 2018. Probate wasn't actually granted until July, and we have reason to believe that there has been no completion of the sale, so that's where the issue about validity of the application comes from. Returning to errors and inconsistencies in the design and access statements and the drawings, the statement indicates that the application is for 3 floors, but the drawings indicate 4 with a large basement. The statement says that the design is of a similar size and scale to neighbouring properties. In fact, the proposal for number 9 is actually greater than numbers 7 and 11 combined, 425 square metres as opposed to the combined figure of 330. No consideration in the design and access statement about the slope, quite a significant slope from left to right and from front to back. The proposed ridge height for number 9 is actually higher than the ridge height of the property uphill. It's not consistent with the slope of the road. There's a number of errors in the drawings, including number 7 and 11 are not 2-storey buildings on the boundary. The drawings show that they are. Turning to what we believe is poor design, we're not actually against redevelopment. In fact, number 11 had planning granted recently because the proposal was appropriate in terms of scale, design, character and appearance, and would have no detrimental impact on the neighbours. This application is the opposite. It failed to consider NPPF 127 and 128 and ignores local plans 69 and 70 in terms of design and character. In particular, the crown roof is evidence of overdevelopment. There's nothing like it locally. The loss of gaps and open street ceiling leads to a terracing effect on Alderden Lane. And in fact, there's an overwhelming effect on both number 7, where the depth of development into the back garden is considerable, and indeed just one office, and number 11, which infringes the 45-degree line, and within less than a metre of the boundary there'll be a 10-metre chimney towering over the patio of number 11. There's also oil storage in number 11, which building regs, that is a building regs issue in terms of where the walls would be built in number 9. I think that summarises the objections, which are contained in objection letters which you have received.
Yes, I've read this.
I think a few more may have come in tonight as well.
Thank you very much indeed. Right.
Thanks very much for your
Thank
time.
you. Right. So, over to the committee. How's the clue?
Well,
Do you want to start?
say that I've been down and looked at this property on the street side, and the ridge height does seem to be a fair bit higher than the other 2 properties. I've looked on the plans and I had problems with the website, but I couldn't get a good picture of plan view of this development, but it looks as though it does actually go some way into the real garden. Yes. So I think that there is a case for further development.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
I drove up Sunday morning to look at it, and I think it is an overdevelopment size. And although it's a reasonable plot, it's still an overdevelopment, and it certainly changes the street scene. It does close in into an open scene, and also because it is going up a slope, that accentuates the roof height and that it's overbearing, so I would not support the application.
I'm completely in agreement, and in addition I am concerned about the effect on neighbouring properties. I think actually Jonathan who spoke made it really good, in the data as well, it stakes it out really well in terms of the 45-degree angle, and also the some of the policies that we need to refer to. So yeah, I'd recommend refusal on site, overdevelopment site, impact on neighbouring
Loss of
properties,
amenity.
loss of amenity, ridge height.
And do we want to also question whether there should be a tree in that?
Right. So, we can vote. We can vote. So, this committee's decision is to recommend refusal for this application. As I said earlier, we've got no direct power, but we do have our say for the reasons that you've just heard mentioned. For overdevelopment of the site, height, street scene, we can't really put a lot more in.
Loss of amenities.
Lots of amenities, thank you. So,
I mean, you've
no.
ticked all of the boxes. Right.
But again, the officers of St Albans might think completely different, but we can only have our say. And it has been called in, so you know, I don't vote. But if now, what I should have explained earlier, and I know a couple of people here know the system. When something gets called in, it comes to committee at district. The only thing is, we don't get any warning with committee district, other than the fact it comes on the agenda about 10 days before the meeting. So at that time, the group of people who are objecting need to get together and appoint a spokesman, because that spokesman will be allowed 3 minutes at the district council, as indeed the applicant will be allowed 3 minutes to speak for the proposal, and the opponents would be given 3 minutes to speak against it. The timing for that is a bit more strict than I am, if I can say, but and that is webcast. So if people couldn't get to the meeting, it is actually live webcast. So now the only thing is that you never know when it's coming up on the agenda, so you just need to keep your eyes open. Occasionally they will show it on the application details on the internet. It will come up on the planning meeting. It's proposed to put it out. You just need to look at the agenda really and see. I mean, I know 10 days before, which is as soon as everybody else does, because the agenda arrives in the post. But as I said before, if anybody needs any help, I'll try and guide you in any way I can do, whether it be for the application or against it. I can only speak, but I've got to be very careful. I don't give any actual planning advice on a particular application. I can only explain to you the system, because sitting on the committee I can't prejudge it.
Yeah.
Okay? So sorry.
The only thing I was going to say to add to that is also, and probably go to everyone, is that when you're putting in like comments on applications, if you refer to those planning guidelines and refer to policies, it really helps guide councillors, and it also helps you guide your argument in the way that you want it to go to, because that's what we have to judge every application against. It's not a stick your finger in there, like it or not, it's a this is the policy and we stick to it or we don't, kind of thing. That's really useful.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, so those of you who come, you've heard as much as we can do.
That's fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So which one do you want to do next? We'll do Richard, shall we? Okay, so page 26. Right, planning application 5/2018-2276. It's a change of use from Class 2 care home to Class 3 residential, and construction of an additional 3-storey building to incorporate 11 apartments with undercroft parking facilities, rooftop patios, office and associated landscaping, following demolition of the existing single and 2-storey extension. Now this is a resubmission following the refusal of 2017-1731 by the District Council. So now I believe we've got a speaker here tonight. Hold on. As you heard me say, you've got 3 minutes. You know the system.
Okay.
I'll let you have your say.
Right, my name is John Talbot. I'm representing properties neighbouring the proposed development. My apologies, so few neighbours could attend. We only heard about the meeting yesterday, so not sure why. Original plans were submitted in July, turned down in October by SABC. And I quote, "By reason of the scale, mass, height, bulk, roof form of the new building and inclusion of roof terraces, it would fail to preserve the architectural and historic interest and setting of the locally listed building and will cause demonstrable harm to the street scene and to the character and appearance of the Harpenden Conservation Area. The proposed balconies will give rise to significant and demonstrable harm to properties on Townsend Lane and Rosebery Avenue through overlooking and loss of privacy to their private amenity spaces." Beechcroft appealed to the inspector in May 2018, however, new plans were submitted before the appeal has been concluded. In fact, it still hasn't been concluded. So there's no consultation with the neighbours on these new plans, they've just pushed them in. The suggestion is that new plans are different, however there's clearly no significant change from last year's plans, as you may have seen in the 3D views that we've emailed to you recently. The new design is massive, it's still 3 stories high, it's overbearing, it looms over adjacent properties, it overlooks, leading to loss of privacy for neighbours. It's out of character, the huge blocks are not in keeping with the avenue's conservation area. It intrudes beyond the existing rear building line. Looking at neighbour amenity, the design does not comply with Policy 70. There's zero change in the setting of the balcony to apartment 9. A new intrusive balcony overlooking 25 Salisbury Avenue is now included. Kitchen windows overlooking 14, 16, 18 Rosebery Avenue on the first floor are included. Parking is inadequate and there's no street parking generally available due to commuters using it all the time. Turning to conservation area requirements, it does not comply with Policy 85. It's not in keeping, the scale is out of character, it infringes the no back garden development target. Quote from the conservation document, "Development must respect the existing open layout of the area with particular regard to the spacing of buildings from each other and from the site boundaries. Extensions and conversions should be in a scale and in proportion with existing buildings. And it is the Council's policy to encourage the retention of those features which make the Harpenden Conservation Area special, including buildings, trees, hedges, walls, fences, etc. Recently we've come across a new factor, the change of use, the loss of amenity. There's a shortage of care homes in the area, and it's proposed to change the use of this building from care home to housing. It's recommended that you reject the application for all the reasons that have been outlined."
Thank you very much. Can I say to all the residents who are here for this application, to our knowledge, just looking on the internet, this has not been called in. Now, we're just trying to check on date-wise what date this actually appeared on our agenda and guide you, because it could be that this expires this Friday. You need to get hold of one of your district councillors to call it in.
Well, we talked to Matt Stevens, he said he would call it in.
Right, he hasn't done as yet.
Okay.
So it is something really, I mean, they are a little bit behind the district, because one was called in last week, which took 4 days to get on the system. I can only look at the internet at the moment. So perhaps
we'll
somebody could just check that.
Yeah.
Because what I would hate you to do was to miss out on time-wise, because they're very strict with this 3-week rule. And I can't extend it, no than any other councillor.
It says September the 26th on the website.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just...
That might be a calling day.
That could be calling date.
No.
It's not.
It says a 20-something councillor call-in period.
When's it? 3-week period. I can't read it.
I don't know if this is the right
We just seemed the right application,
Oh,
sorry.
I can't read it for them. I had to walk
We're
over
just having a look. We're just having a look what date it came on our list.
depends which list.
Sorry to be a pain, but I just don't want to give you the
Well, you need to
advice.
look at the weekly application.
Yes, we do, we've got that.
Yeah.
But I don't know which
Yeah.
list it was on.
So-
I'm just checking. There we
Hmm.
go. If you carry on with the discussions, I'll find out.
Okay, well, okay.
So, sorry, please, right, over to you.
Well, I was going to say, it's very simple. They haven't even begun to address the frankly, for previous reasons for refusal.
I don't even see the point of why they resubmitted this application, to be honest. It's so much, like, I don't even know what they've done.
Yes. And I might say, just as a line, I went into their website to look at this, and they are advertising Harpenden forthcoming. Although they're saying they haven't got planning permission yet, but they've got it advertised on their website. They provide, you know, this sort of...
Yes.
Yes, they have. But as far as I'm concerned, refused for all the previous reasons.
Okay.
Or refused on the basis that the previous reasons for
Haven't been
refusal have not been addressed in any way.
Right, can I give you two comments? Because I thought that this boiled down to really how does it comply with the appearance in the conservation area? Is there enough parking, privacy, loss of amenity, and bulk and mass?
Right.
Okay. So just going through this though, I think that it helps to boil down the arguments. In terms of how does it comply with appearance, I don't know if anyone's read the heritage statement.
Yeah.
Actually, in here it says, for these reasons we conclude the proposed scheme preserves and enhances the character and appearance of the Harpenden Conservation Area. It has no effect on nearby listed buildings. It will enhance the locally listed buildings on the site in this setting of adjacent local listed buildings. So that office there is very much for this scheme.
Right.
If we go on to the parking, within the sort of statement reading through from the developer, they're using a formula of 1.25 parking spaces per retirement apartment.
Right.
And they quote the sort of legal document that they're working to. So I think that there's a problem in trying to get it on parking.
Okay, we've complied with
If
the
you-
rules that
yeah,
exist
I've
at
worked
the
it out,
moment.
it comes out to the 14 car parking spaces, okay? Now, in terms of letters of objection, there were some very clever documents sent out from the law. And there was one where there was a simulation of the views from the different places. In fact, actually, some of the views have actually got better, but I'm not saying... I think it's still very much so that there's a severe bulk and loss of amenity are the two. Those are the things which I think should cause it to be, to be rejected. Okay. So I'm just saying, going through the thing logically, it could be that there are better arguments for the appearance in the conservation area. But all I'm saying is that we've got one officer saying it meets the criteria. I think they'll be okay on parking. I think it's really bulk, mass, and loss of amenity.
Which officer is that?
This is just an extract from the on that. Okay. So I would support refusal. I'm just saying why.
Right.
I mean, I think we can just say refusal, previous reasons for refusal have not been met.
Well, I mean, I can speak on this one because at the moment it hasn't
And hasn't
been.
been called in, so you can speak.
If I could just speak to the objectors who are here tonight, it is this Friday is the last deadline for a call-in to be submitted. So please, I'm not telling you your job, but if you wanted it called in, I do think in this instance it should come to committee. Need to get hold of Matt Stevens and check. He should have had an acknowledgement back from the district council saying that they accepted the call-in, which sometimes takes a bit. So,
Chair, if I may, I was going to say as well, there is no reason why more than one councillor should not call it in.
No, you've got
so
three
you may wish to
councillors.
so you may wish to ask another of your ward councillors at district to also call in. There's no rule only one can do it.
it's Tuesday today, but it has to be done before 4 o'clock.
Just to make sure you're...
Make sure it's done. Yeah, sorry, I don't like telling you how to do things, but I'll guide you if I can. So, I mean, I immediately picked up on one comment. So 26. I picked up immediately on a couple of things, certainly on the bulk thing, but I did notice in the report from the previous application, they said that the... they said the rooftop balcony was sort of not on in the conservation area. And I noted in the new application, they put rooftop, they changed the word,
Yes, I
from
do.
rooftop patio to rooftop.
They become a patio.
Yes.
Yes, that's what he came to say.
Yeah, so-
Somebody give me a clue. What's the difference?
Yes, it was a roof terrace, if I
Yes,
get the words
it's
right.
amazing. It becomes
It's a roof
patio.
terrace, it became a rooftop
Yes, I think
patio.
that one.
So we've already got a reason to refuse,
Yes.
just with, with that. I mean, I'm going along with my colleagues, we will have a vote in a moment. Previous reasons for refusal, bear in mind that Beechcroft, in their wisdom, have immediately gone to the inspector in Bristol, who will make the ultimate decision, and whatever they decide, sadly, we can't overturn. That is the situation we're in. So I'll ask my colleagues if to vote. Are you all in favour of recommending refusal? So we have a unanimous decision from our part that this application should be refused. I think really, I don't think they should put another application in. My own thoughts are they should have put another application so soon after the previous one was refused, pending the one in Bristol. It's a sign of desperation here, and indeed to put an application in that's so similar. But that's my personal thoughts.
It's
Sorry.
happened. I've seen it before. It
Yes,
happens.
well, they
It
do
happens.
regularly do.
Yes,
But
they do.
it's just
They
that
do it.
we caught now between, we have to wait for hopefully the call in, which means it would come to committee here. Normally at the moment they're taking about 3 months from the call in date to actually arrive in St Albans. As you heard me say earlier, you need to get together and find a spokesperson, because I was pretty sure that Beechcroft will have somebody there to counter any opposition. But I can't foresee what. Now the call in will normally, when we call something in, we call it into committee if the officer recommends approval. If the officer recommends refusal, it doesn't come to committee because it dies then. It's no good as just occasionally where something gets called in the other way, the committee occasionally overturns things. Both ways. We overturn this officer's recommendation. But I think that in this case, Councillor Stevens will put it in if the officer recommends approval.
Thank you very much.
Is that okay? Sorry, I can only guide you, which is my job.
Did you have any views on the change of use?
No. Sorry, I'm not an expert. Yeah, I sad to lose any facility for that. Having said that, we seem to be building seniors' homes, can I put it that way in a nice way, all over Harpenden. We've got a huge one behind us here, and obviously we had the one at the top of the town in the old hotel. So that's just my personal thoughts, not a planning reason. It's the officer didn't have that as a reason for refusal on the previous one. So it's very difficult for us to introduce another reason to refuse when he hasn't already done that.
It's just that we read that, I think it was in Bath.
We can't look at another. Sorry, the planning inspectorate at Bristol might look at other ones. Unfortunately, we cannot compare. As indeed, I couldn't compare this with the application at number 2. With the Jarvis application, because every application is treated its merits for that particular, as it's in front of us. So sorry to be a pain, but it's very difficult. I know we, sitting on planning as I do regularly, we do need guidance sometimes from our experts, from our planning officers, but they wouldn't refer to another unless the applicant was using some High Court decision to try and waiver the policies that saying that such and such versus such and such an application is, then that's pie in the sky in this application. Okay?
Okay,
Thank you for coming, and I hope we made it interesting for you.
Can I just clarify the committee that we're recommending refusal due to previous reasons for refusal?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, you will have with that. Sorry, I should make sure that we will do the reason. All right. So, we go to 67 Medford Way, which is pretty...
Just stop to find
Who's got to the front to the right? So,
We're going to
so on page 24,
the
top. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I know you don't want to speak. You'll hear us. We haven't planned to have a long discussion on this, but because it doesn't fit our jurisdiction for discussion. As you're here tonight, we will have a discussion amongst ourselves, and you'll hear what we think. Okay? So we've got just going to quickly go through the application. We've got the paperwork in front of us. Right. And I think, I don't know how many bedrooms this got into that.
This one is going up to 4 bedrooms. Yeah, size. Garage going to be... No. It's a bungalow at the moment.
It's a bungalow.
Yeah.
Yes, I drove.
Oh yes,
I
it's
spent
that
Sunday
one.
morning riding around everywhere looking.
So the bungalows are the
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and they're going at the side as well.
Yes, because this I'll do it properly. So this application is 5/2018-2136, the part single, part 2-storey side and rear extensions. Raising of the roof to incorporate the extension to the loft to create habitable living space. Front and rear dormer windows, roof lights and alterations to the opening.
I was just concerned about the parking provision. I think that it just
Well,
seems a bit tight down there where they were building out to the side. It just looked like they were
Yes,
going to...
Yes.
Because it's
Right.
not got a huge frontage.
No. It
So-
seems to have lots of room at the back.
But there's not a lot in the front.
Not a lot in the front.
How many bedrooms?
It's got 4.
Four.
You've got 2.
I agree. I think the
Should be-
parking's going to be tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.
5.
Oh yes, it's going to be in the roof.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Habitable roof space, which they haven't called a bedroom, but
Too down?
We cannot
it could be a library or...
well, you can put a
Study.
stipulation on that.
No, unfortunately we can't.
No, we can't.
Oh, we can't.
No, we can't.
Sorry, the reason why I didn't say I wanted to speak is because I don't live there anymore, but Mr. Long lives next door.
Right.
And so that's why we thought we'd come to see what he thought about it, because it's in the middle of a street scene that is all bungalows.
It is.
Well, sorry, please, speak.
Yes, I was going to say, because I did drive past it. I would say, relative to the street scene, it's going to be quite big.
Not the street scene.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think they've actually provided it.
No, I mean, I did drive along, and yes, they are all
Hmm.
bungalows. And I know this happens all the time, but it is, with the dormer, it is quite bulky, and it is out of keeping with that particular street scene, because they are all bungalows.
And it
And is quite a specific street scene on that.
It's not-
very high, but
it's
it's
not-
raised roof
Yes.
in relation to the street.
The other thing that I was concerned with parking. The other thing is because of where it is on the street as well, it's on the corner, so it's on it's a domineering effect, isn't
And
it?
it's quite afraid, and it's quite far forward.
Yeah.
So it will, I think, I think there is on bulk and scale.
And I also think in terms of precedent,
development.
in terms of the street scene, because obviously we have seen
I
it
think
in the past and before, but that's what I'm
I wonder whether it's really overdeveloped. The problem is that there have been so many instances precedent set with bungalows turning into houses.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is overdevelopment. Really, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But the thing that I don't like about it is the street scene.
I think you'd be hard pushed to get it for overdevelopment. But I think there is an issue on its effect on the street side, particularly with the the elevations.
Okay. One bit of information, perhaps you can ask your ex-neighbour and that. So is this house owned by a family that need to have accommodation for, or is it a developer that's bought it that's doubling its size?
My understanding is that it's owned by a family, but they want to increase the size in order to bring relatives from abroad.
Oh, right, okay,
So
that's
bring
fine. No,
a
occasionally we
large
have,
number of adults.
I mean,
which
it's not a
obviously
planning
will
reason,
impact
I was
on
just
the car
curious.
park and the
I
number
was
of
just
houses in the
curious.
building.
Well, speaking from the chair, and my thoughts are, on paper, yes, it's 5 bedrooms with 2 parking spaces, which is nowhere near our stipulation for the
I
number
tried
of
to
vacant
remember
spaces.
this evening which bit of the planning policy it talks about, because I've seen it before when an application went in for that road just to put 1 bedroom up in the loft, and that was refused because of it being too much in there.
Yeah. Well, you know, we had to try and go by our policies.
Yes.
At the moment, we don't seem to have too many. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry, as I say, I think this is one. I think it's quite difficult to recommend refusal on this one. But I think,
Parking.
except for parking, which is the only
2
ground.
spaces.
You can refuse on parking grounds. I think it's
That's on a
but
corner.
I think you can. But I think one can express concern
Right, but not.
that in terms of
So we can say we'd like to express concern on the effect of street scene, but serious concern on the lack of parking
yeah,
on a corner,
yeah.
because obviously you can't park in the road there.
That should be enough to refuse it.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yes. So
I go, yes.
Yeah,
Are we-
that's
are we-
refused, because I, to be honest, like, in our advising capacity, I just want to be a bit stronger. In terms of, if we're thinking, oh, we probably would refuse it, but we're expressing concern.
no, well, I think we should refuse because of parking
Yes,
anyway.
and I think,
5 bedrooms
yes.
with only 2 spaces.
And I think
we do refuse.
and we make the point that and I think we need to put in about the point that it's on a corner.
Well, I think there's no, yes, so I think
Yes.
because it's on a corner,
Yes.
there's no street parking, with only 2 spaces
So I
allocated.
say that we'd recommend refusal on that, and I'd go on to say I would also express concern
Yes.
that it is out of keeping with the street scene and an overdevelopment in terms of, if you like, height and bulk.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, building on that, recommend refusal due to insufficient parking,
Yeah.
and then express concern for
Street scene.
street scene and
And
being on the corner.
Yeah. So,
And overdevelopment in terms of size and height, did you say?
I'm not sure.
no, I don't know about size, but I think in terms of it's the height of the room
Yes,
and,
yes.
and the bulk. It's not so much the size, in a
No.
sense. It's not the,
Look, it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
bit of footprint.
it's not the
gone.
footprint. It's
Yeah.
the
It's gone.
it's its sort of dominance.
Yeah.
So, if we can vote on that, are we all happy?
Yeah.
So, if you understood that discussion,
We
we recommended
understand.
refusal, first and foremostly because of parking, 5 bedrooms, and unfortunately we've got to count these rooms as they're livable, but they might call them libraries or studies. They can be bedrooms. So, and for that, you should have 3.5 parking spaces. There is only 2, you know, and I know, on a corner, and really, it's just no way to park in the road. So, that's what we're recommending. As you heard me say earlier, we haven't got a lot of power, but at least we have our say.
Can I just ask a question?
You can ask a question?
If we wanted to speak to the district councillor
Yes?
to get it pulled in, would we need to...
Are we in time on this one? Sorry, I need to
think
look
we
up the
probably
dates.
missed it.
It's done by date, you see.
Yeah,
Can we
I
look
think
up-
the deadline for comments was
Well,
next.
unfortunately, I'm your district councillor, and I can't call it in. Well, I don't call in things when I'm sitting on a committee. Sorry, we're just going to look up the date.
Yeah,
that was- as I was
think
looking up
Mr.
for those other
Longfield's
people.
deadline for his comments was today, which is why...
It's this week, is it?
It's today, actually.
Well, it would be a
It's
Friday.
Friday.
It's always a
It can
Friday.
only be yes, it's always on a Friday.
Just one dates from the letter.
because it's the date, it's 3 weeks after the date we're notified of the application, not 3 weeks after the date that they submitted. So it's 3 weeks after we know. So one second, we're just looking at it.
From the date of this letter.
It might have gone, but we're just going to have a quick, because it's quite early on. You're right.
Yeah, I'm just going to book the leave.
Yeah, of course, yeah, please, sorry.
Well, speed up.
Yeah, what were you saying? In a minute, that.
So I just thought it was cost.
It was quite... I think it would have been...
I think the deadline for comments is this Friday.
I think it's this probably coming out the first time again.
Yeah, it might be. I can't find it at the moment. It's not coming up.
So it's the 31st.
That's the 26th, isn't it? It's the week before.
So that's the 24th. That's gone. No, that's gone. It's 24th, it's gone. That was expired 14th.
Right, I thought it was that one.
If it's
Oh,
last week,
yeah.
31st.
Right, so that one, that's the going.
21st, yeah, Friday.
So it's this Friday.
Right.
Now, the difficulty I've got is that I'm one of your councillors, the other heritage is the other is one of the other and the other one is Councillor Brian Ellis.
Yeah.
Now, you could ask him. Now, the thing about it is that he has to consider a planning reason for calling it in. If the officers recommended approving it. It's a difficult one. All I can say is that you could give him a call and see whether he could. Sadly, I don't like doing it because it looks like I'm prejudging it.
No.
It puts me in a difficult situation.
I think the main concern is not about any development being done on the road. I used to live in the road. I built an extension on the back, a single-storey extension on the back of a bungalow in the road. That's
Right.
how I got to know Mr. Long. But it's the roof height
Yeah.
that is going to make it appear that it looks like a house in the middle of a row of bungalows.
Yeah.
And when I
You
first
could,
looked
I mean,
at it,
My recommendation is somebody gives Brian Ellis a call. As I did say earlier,
Yeah.
the deadline is 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So, and see what he thinks. You can say he spoke to Council Heritage, David Heritage, and unfortunately we've recommended refusal, but I'm reluctant to call it in.
Okay.
Brian doesn't sit on Planners Law.
Okay.
So, but that's as far as we can do it tonight to
Well,
help
thank
you.
you very much for your time tonight.
No, that's what we're here
Thank
for.
you
And we try and,
for looking at it.
I always try and make sure that the audience understands the situation and try and help you with anything you want to do, in the future in that
Yeah.
case.
Right. Okay.
That's fine.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Thanks
Thanks
very
very
much.
much for your time.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Okay,
Right,
bye-bye.
thank you. Thank you for that, team. That's just very long, because that's just around the corner from me. And I do know, I don't know, sorry, I know of the house, but I don't know him.
I drove round to look at it.
But, I could do. But anyway, it is difficult. Right, team, so we're going to go right back to the beginning on page 15 and try and pull off through these as quick as we can. So, I will, any that we've made comments on, I will, if no comment required by the committee, I'll just read the numbers.
Yep.
Any that we've made comments on, I'll just ask anybody else to add anything
Yep.
to it. So we've got 5/2018, 1869, which is 167 Crabtree Lane.
Yeah.
Our officers recommended, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties, not a problem. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't think we need to vote on that because I think that's all okay. Right, next one, no comment required. I'm not going through that. Right, next one, similar one again. We've got 5/2018, 1965. Part single, part two-storey front story is 22 Lyndhurst. Similar thing again. Our officers recommended no objection, provided there's no loss of amenity to the neighbouring properties. No one's objected.
No.
I've checked this, so we're all happy with that. Good, thank you. Next one, it's a discharge of condition. We don't need to worry about that. Over the page. Right, this is to Cranberry Avenue. 5/2018, 2125, two-storey side, part single, part two-storey rear, and replacement windows. 32 Cranberry Avenue. We've got a similar one again. In no objection, provided that there's no loss of amenity to the neighbouring properties, and should that be sufficient parking provision. Are we all happy with that?
Yeah.
That's, yep, well done. Thank you very much. Right, next is discharge of condition. We don't do. Next one is a single story, doesn't reach the requirements for us. The next one at the top of the page doesn't require us. Next one, right, 5/2018, 1734 is a loft conversion with front roof lights, rear dormer windows and Juliet balcony. Those of you that sit in this committee know my thoughts on Juliet balconies. I like what our officer said.
Yeah.
Recommend refusal regarding the Juliet balcony. We cited the rear dormer window. The result definitely effect. So, are we all happy? Can we vote on that one? That we think that should be refused.
Agree. Yes.
Okay. So happy with what we said there. Right, next one's 4 High Elms. We've had a discussion on that. Thank you. Next one is a non-material amendment. We don't need to worry about. Certificate of lawfulness. We don't need to worry about. Next one, West Common front porch. We don't need to worry about that. 21 Sibley Avenue. Yes, it is a few doors away from me, and I live at number 5. 21 was too far away.
You're too far away, yes, you're all right.
5/2018, 2127, first floor rear extension, loft conversion with hip to gable roof extension, front and rear dormer windows, single story rear extension and front porch, amended description. So, lots of houses have had bits and pieces out of two in our road, including our road, but I think this is just too far, and I think what we said immediately, there's no provision for any extra parking on the site, and I think it's, so I like what we've said. I might have said a bit more, but no, I think that's good enough to start off with. Recommend refusal.
Yeah.
Well, you've put recommendation, you haven't said refusal or
You said it.
reuse.
I'd
Right.
I'd go for refusal.
My own thoughts are, it's a little bit too much.
It's too, yes, it is. I'd
So,
refuse.
sorry, we need to vote, because I have to vote.
Yeah.
Are we all happy that we actually say refusal, and
Yeah.
emphasising the lack of parking provision as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
You all happy with that?
Yeah.
Right, next one is discharge of conditions, we don't need to worry about. Over the page. Right, this is an interesting one. 5/2018, 2177. It's a new two-storey attached dwelling following partial demolition of existing dwelling and subdivision of the plot with associated parking and landscaping. All I will say, if anybody's ever been down here, it's a very interesting thing, because it's like a triangular plot, because it's right on the corner of Sibley Avenue and Meadway. So, I'm over to you all.
Well, I do not think the previous reasons for refusal have been addressed. I actually don't see how, on that, because of its siting on the corner and the very odd shape of the plot, I do not see how you could get a second dwelling on it.
I wholly agree with you.
It's just not possible.
So, Councillor?
I'm not really sure what they've done different. on this actually.
Well, they've turned it round the opposite, facing the other way.
Well, but it's still really
Well, they haven't addressed the
probably
previous.
they haven't addressed the reasons.
Yes, no, they haven't addressed the reason. It's actually very difficult to do so, given the plot.
Well, is that,
And it's
I mean,
exciting.
that was my thoughts for last year's application.
Yes.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I remember we were talking about this.
Yes.
That's right.
I mean,
We did indeed.
it is simply seeking to do an overdevelopment and a plot that can't take it.
Yeah.
So we are recommending refusal
Yes.
for those reasons.
Yeah.
Really, previous reasons for refusal have not been addressed.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
we need to vote on that, please. Are we all happy?
Yes.
So, is that okay? So, recommend refusal, displeasures.
Right.
Right, moving on. Next one. Sorry, can we have a bit
Oh,
of...
sorry.
I need to briefly exit.
Oh yes, sorry about that. I hadn't got as far as that. So I'll let you escape. We'll come to it, don't worry.
Let me go to Coles off.
Discharge of conditions.
Right. Interesting that, sorry, the previous one was before the one that Council Farmers had to lead for. The 4 high elms are now changing the landscaping. I didn't want to say too much earlier because obviously the applicant was here. But are changing the landscaping for the house that got permission. And it was so controversial, this house in the back garden. It's the only one high elms that's got a house in the back garden. That they've had to change the landscaping because the house at the bottom of the garden, which is one of the main objectors, it's her daughter's involved in the legal challenge. They've cut down trees, so they've got no privacy for this new house. So what they've done now is had to plan to put trees in.
Yes.
So it's a very difficult. The whole site is becoming more of a nightmare all the time, but interesting times.
Yes.
So anyway, that's high elms. We don't get involved in discussing that. So next one is which we normally wouldn't discuss, but because it's been recommended obviously for us to discuss, it's a display of an unilluminated A-board sign, and this is 5/2018, 1524 for 65B High Street. Which I think is the beauticians, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
So I'm not sure what we're trying to put. Why do
Well,
we want to
the
display it
reason
in
that I asked the committee to look at it was because of where they wanted to put it. So they wanted to put it right at the front here, which looks like, I don't know if I'm right, but it looks like where the cars would drive through. But this is the beginning of the roadway, and this is where traffic would pull through there. Drive along there. So we're still concerned about the positioning of it.
Hotbed house is back here, isn't it? So you're saying there's a car park there?
Well, they're positioned at the back, apparently, at their property. So they've got to put the signage at the front, is that correct?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
you're
they've
right.
got to advertise right at the front,
Yes, I'm with you.
where all the public are.
Yes.
They look like they're positioning, where these 2 green bits are.
Yeah.
Is this Bowers Grey, or am I getting it wrong? So I'm just thinking that if this is where the traffic goes along here, and then traffic pulls in through here.
There is a bit of pavement there, though, isn't there?
Right, okay.
I think that's all pavement now, isn't it? That's where
Okay.
traffic comes through.
So,
I think these
you know,
are
whose
green
land
areas,
is
yeah.
that they're putting it on?
Yeah, I think that's the issue, isn't it? But that's
It
not
looks
our
like
issue.
it looks like it's
so-
No.
I mean, my own thoughts are.
And there is guidance from highways as to how many signs you can actually put out, depending on premises and so on and so forth, and where you can put
Yeah,
it.
the proposed sign location is actually here.
Yeah, that's right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with this one.
And they've got to make sure that they've got certain, they've got to have public liability. There's a lot of stuff. This is what I got from the highways. So there's a lot of things that they've got to do to make sure that they meet all the...
I think I would express concern, and the only reason I'm saying not recommend refusal
Yeah.
is because I don't feel like we've got all the correct information.
I mean, I think because of these days of disabilities and blind people,
Yeah.
the more stuff we put on the pavements, certainly on a part of the pavement which wouldn't be automatically blocked off. It's not like outside, it's like a lettuce or something, where it's actually a portioned off area.
I also don't really understand why it needs...
Well, I can understand the need to advertise their premises,
Yeah.
but I think, I personally, I'm just worried about things on pavements.
Yeah, it says here, A-boards can't be within 2 metres of any tactile paving such as marked or raised slabs as visually impaired. You must consider accessibility to the area and remain at least 2 metres away from bus stops and pedestrian crossings.
Right. I mean, this is an access to the rear, next door to the access to the rear car park, as far as I can remember.
Right.
So, and anything that blocks off the view of cars going in or coming out. I presume this is where cars cross over the pavement.
Yeah, it's 850 millimetres high, frame height, so it's under a metre.
I mustn't attach any equipment to the pavement or items of street furniture.
I just,
I think we should recommend...
I think,
Because it's an unusual one, that's why I brought it.
yeah, I think on this one, we just, I'm not an expert on neighbourhoods. We get lots of inquiries about it, licensing, about A-boards, and we're getting more and more of them, but
You must not obstruct the access or exit to any premises including your own. You must not cause any unnecessary obstruction of the pavement, highway, or danger to people using the pavement.
no, I think that's my concern.
Yeah. I think we
Because I think-
recommend refusal based on that one.
I think on that, on the guidelines given to us by county. I think there are better positions
Yeah.
for something, even if that. But
Although
I would hate us to give an okay to it,
Yeah.
and then somebody to trip over it or that, and they say, well, hang on a minute, the town council thought it was all right.
Yeah, can I just say,
So
I did look at the highways report on this, and they raised no objections.
Did they?
But I agree that we're not qualified really.
no, we're not,
Whether
because we don't know visibility.
no,
But entering or exiting the rear car parking might be blocked off by the A-board, because the A-board is sure to be facing at right angles to the road,
it will be, yes.
which would mean that your visibility from one direction or another could be impaired if the A-board was is in the position which it suggests.
Yeah.
So we can say we're concerned, and just and not say yes and not say no, and take guidance from district regarding express concern on the planned position for this A-board on the pavement.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you happy with that? Sorry, I should have asked you to vote with that. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think
That we
it's
say,
a good one.
so expressing concern that there's A-board's position on the pavement,
Yes.
and let districts say, not a problem, or,
That's right, it needs an expert
yeah.
to know exactly where it's going.
So do you want to, do Arms Gardens, as Rosemary's escaped at the moment, and
Yep.
just do that one? Just find it quickly. So it's going in and out twice. It's at page 22 at the bottom. I mean, not got a long decision on this, but it's 2018-2110. It's a garage conversion, part single, part two-storey front extension, porch canopy, single-storey rear extension, roof lights, new openings to side elevations and alterations to the openings, 40 hours of gardens. I mean, rather like our officers said, subject to lots of houses down there have bits and pieces added to it. This one seems to be doing it all in one go. But rather like we said, I would like to know that the parking is sufficient, which in many ways is a difficult road.
It is, yeah, they're all difficult. I think
So,
I like
comments?
wording.
Yeah, I like that.
Like the wording? Yes, we're all happy with what we said. Yeah, we think we should. So, yeah, now, we've got your pass with you to wave at the door. Just, you need to wave at the green light.
Come in.
Right, all done. I mean, out of courtesy, Rosemary, we were concerned about the A-board in his position on the pavement, so we think that should be, we've raised concern. I see what they say, you know that. And the one opposite to you, we did say that subject to the parking provision being corrected, lots of houses have had bits and pieces added to them, because this one decided to do it all at once.
Yes.
You know, so I couldn't find a reason to actually refuse, but we wanted the parking provision being confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, and courtesy, that's what we've done. So, right, I've lost where we were. We're on...
We are now
Right,
going
A-board,
to
so we now want
page 20,
Page 20, yep.
1874, which is the 48 Harrods Road.
Yep, so we've done...
Sorry, I missed
one.
that. Which page was it?
20.
1874, right, that was a good year.
Yep. Part single, part two, sorry, 2018, 1874,
Yeah.
thank you. Part single, part two-storey side and single-storey front and rear extensions, front porch canopy and installation of a rear roof light, 14A Clarence Road.
Yeah.
It is Harpenden Conservation Area. I'm happy with what our officers said. Do I have comments from?
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
happy.
Yep.
Go for that.
All approved?
Yeah.
Right,
Go for that.
Who's happy?
Yep,
I'm
I'm
signed
fine.
up. He nodded, sorry.
I'm
I didn't see you nod. Right, next one, we'll have a quick discussion on 5/2018, 1974, part single, part two-storey, part first floor rear and side extensions with lantern light. Reconfiguration of the roof from hip to gable to provide habitable accommodation with roof lights and rear dormer window. And front porch extension with new pitched roof over the garage. 47 Highfield Avenue. Rather like the officer said,
Yeah.
you know, just about every house in Highfield Avenue has had something added to it.
Absolutely.
There's no objections from any neighbour,
No.
I could see.
No, nobody.
Nobody
I
is.
didn't see anything. No, I thought-
So, providing, unfortunately we can't go around the back and see, no loss of amenities to the neighbouring properties.
No.
Rather like you said, I'm happy with that one.
Can
Are we all happy with that comment?
You know, we've had mixtures of hip and gable roofs, and does this adversely affect the street scene?
Not really.
Not on
That
Highfield
road is-
Avenue, no.
There's bits of everything in that road.
Yes, no, there's no coherent architectural style
Okay.
on Highfield
Yep.
Avenue.
Okay.
Right, next
Yep.
one, 2018, 2007, proposed single-storey front infill extension, two-storey rear extension, roof right to front, some tubes to the roof, new on me, alterations to openings, raised patio to the rear, and formation of new vehicle access to form drive-through driveway and associated landscaping at 24 Bowers Way. Right, committee.
If it's a new vehicular access to full driveway, does this mean a second drop curb? Because in my understanding, they are not, a second drop curb is not permitted by highway, and that they're not given permission for it.
That is absolutely correct. The farmer, no house, unless it is for safety reasons,
Yes, it's
is allowed to have two
drop
drivers
curbs.
because it means that it is the loss of
Yeah,
another parking
Yeah.
space.
And therefore, on that basis, that can't be approved.
I've got proposals to add additional access to allow more parking and to prevent reversing on
don't care, they're not allowed a second drop curb.
No, no, no.
It's a rule, it's not,
As we understand,
as we understand it.
Yeah.
the county council has a rule that
Yeah.
except for safety reasons, no property
Well,
is
that's why
allowed
they
to
might
drop
get it
no
on
curbs.
the reversing out, right?
You reverse in, then you drive out.
It's no more dangerous for them than for any other house down there.
No, you know, I hate reversing out of my drive, but, you know, it's...
I mean,
it wouldn't...
you would have to be, there are positions when reversing out would be dangerous, but I don't think on Wales. That's not Wales White that's going to count.
Sorry, can I raise
Sorry,
one
please,
concern? Raised patio to rear, we have so much trouble.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think we should say, because obviously we can't see the rear, we can't see
No.
where anybody would
Yes.
look, but overlooking of neighbouring properties and the raised property.
Which side of Bowes Way is that? Which side of the road is it? Because on one side you might be facing the railway line.
Yes, that's true.
No, but it would still be...
Yeah,
It's
but
facing,
still be-
it'd still be,
next door.
it's just normally raised patios, you look
Yeah. You're looking
here over,
Yeah.
There's been a lot of trouble.
raised patios.
I couldn't see that
Councillor
side,
Cooley.
so I've actually, I have put question out.
Don't worry, we can just
But
raise
even
the comment.
saying raised patio,
Let's just
Yeah.
say raised patio.
Yeah.
yeah, but even by,
Back
Yeah.
onto the patio.
Yeah, it's the
Oh, yes.
the
Same
people
side
either
as Thompson's
side.
Place.
It is, I thought, yes, it's easy. But, I think, on the, because they can't have the second drop curve.
That's the existing, that's the
Yeah.
existing, that's the
So,
proposed one.
I suppose do we refuse on that basis? Well, yes, I suppose we have to, don't we, because you can't have a second.
We refuse on that basis, but also we raise concerns on
Well,
other issues.
Yeah.
yep. Committee showed concern regarding the rear raised patio and sorry, what did you say? And the proposed second drop-down curve is against county council's
Against highways,
rules.
county council highways rules,
Mm.
highways policy.
Yep.
Right, because concerns regarding proposed lake, patio, and
With its detrimental impact to neighbouring property.
yeah. And what did you say about the proposed?
And the proposal for a second drop-down curve is against county council policies. Are you all happy with
Yeah.
that? I mean, I think we either have policies which they're going to enforce, or we don't.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the reason they put it in, because it was a new game, I think as I said to the committee recently, it's a new game.
Yeah.
Put two drop-down curves in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with one car, it stops anybody parking in front of our house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a means to try and say, I own this piece of road in
Yeah.
front of my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it's about.
It is.
It's nothing about exiting safely, it's about creating more,
Yeah.
No,
effectively creating your own private parking space.
I mean, so you're all happy with that?
Yes.
We don't need to vote on that one because that was
Yeah.
right. Right. I'll just
Page 20.
right. So we're on page 21 now.
204.
So 2042. Oh, discharge of conditions. So we don't need to worry about that.
That's anything.
No. 2.5D. No comment required. Is that correct? The next one does not reach. Not required by committee. Does not meet. Does not meet. Does not meet. Right, the next one, oh, Fox Road, the garden, so we've gone by that. Right, 3 Browning Road, top of page 23, 2018-2362, demolition of existing dwelling and garage and construction of one detached and two semi-detached dwellings and alterations to the vehicle access to Browning Road. The thing that jumped out immediately from this is the parking provision for three dwellings.
Yeah.
Well, A, parking provision, and B,
It's just overdevelopment.
it's just overdevelopment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close to creating a terracing effect, isn't it?
Yes.
I think that's what I said. So recommend refusal due to lack of sufficient parking in overdevelopment sites.
Yes.
So, I mean, those are my thoughts, but I'm open to...
No, I've just brought to up. I mean, it is a terracing effect, isn't it?
Right,
So,
You know,
terracing effect on the streets here,
overdevelopment.
overdevelopment, and lack of parking provision for three dwellings. It's just under, or it's under the parking dwellings, but you can guarantee with three dwellings, it's not like just under on one dwelling, with three dwellings you can guarantee that at least
Yes.
two of them will have more
Yes.
than the minimum.
Sorry. Well, I've been down there and looked at this house. The interesting thing is that the house that they want to knock down actually looks out of place a bit in the street because it's so large compared with every other property. I felt that, you know, these properties wouldn't look bad down that place. Actually, to me, it's really the lack of parking because I haven't looked at one of the bedrooms they've got. I think it's 4 bedroom, aren't they? It's pretty large, and particularly this one on the end. So, and also, I don't know whether they've got loft. Three-storey properties, aren't they? So, I felt there's a problem with lack of parking, but I didn't actually feel that the look of the houses looked that bad, actually. I thought they were rather what we needed.
Well, I'm guided by you. I mean, I'm open to...
I'm not sure whether it really is overdevelopment, actually. I think, well, this one's at the end here, probably not enough parking, but I'm not sure about these two.
Can we express concern then? Do we need to start
Yes,
it?
because I see what you say, but because they are the way they're configured and they're right close up and down, well,
Well, they're kind of, it's almost that's a semi-detached.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I was concerned though about the impact of that one on that one.
yeah.
What impact on this one, you mean?
This first semi of the
On-
actual
In the
detached one.
relevant, yes.
Oh, that one on here.
Yeah.
Right, I would do one to the other. Well, it's one of those where they've been built new, isn't it? And someone accepts it as it is, rather than someone's. I just felt that looking at this enormous property here, just that I just thought that if somebody was doing the reverse, knocking those down and building an enormous property up, I'd say it doesn't match the citizen. I'm more of expressed concern over parking here. I don't know whether it's
Okay,
refusal.
I'm happy to go with express concern and parking.
I couldn't find any letters of objection.
Right, so subject to the parking,
Subject to
the parking provision being addressed,
Yes,
find no reasons for refusal.
that's right.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
get,
Yes, I
Are
think
we all right?
Yeah, that's
all right, I'll
We
get
want to
that.
emphasise that the parking provision, as shown,
yes.
is actually below minimum.
yes,
Yes.
And we know there's no parking down there anyway.
yes.
Yeah,
Not
no,
absolutely none of that.
Nothing at all.
Exactly.
So yes, so
Yeah.
we can't make
No.
the road any worse, but no. Okay.
What
So-
we're
So
saying
we're saying subject to parking the lack of parking being addressed, or parking provision being
Does not meet,
addressed.
does not meet
Does not meet minimum.
minimum standards.
Yeah. Yes, development. I can't get
Too excited about it.
I just feel it's kind of in keeping with the spirit of the Labour of Playing, so.
Yeah.
I know it's not law yet, but...
You're the
Well,
committee, you go
yes.
ahead.
I mean, I think that's a balance within the spirit, but you still have to, yes, I mean, in this case, it's
Yes.
but it has to maintain the
No,
within that,
I-
maintain the integrity and
But
stuff, yeah.
we want decent properties.
Well, it's not just
Right,
that, it's they
move
have
forward.
to fit.
Flash 2018, 1978. First floor side and single story side and rear extensions and new side door. 23 Wood End Hill. I can see no reason for this. Again, subject to the
Yeah.
parking proviso
Yes.
being
Yes,
Yes.
completed.
yes.
Yeah, we're all happy with that?
Yeah.
Good, thank you, good. Right, next one doesn't meet the requirements. Right, next one, which we've all had letters of, which
Yes,
I'm
I've been
looking
up
forward
to
to,
that
is the
one, yes.
2018 2277. The demolition of the existing dwelling to create one 5-bedroom and one 4-bedroom detached dwelling with associated landscaping and new vehicle access. 9 Haslingden Close. Well,
I actually recommend, obviously I didn't delegate this one, but I actually recommended it to you
Yeah.
because it was being cramped on the top,
Yeah.
insufficient parking provision and out of keeping with the street.
Yes, it is.
I
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I
I'll wholly agree with it.
Yeah.
Councillor Cooley, please.
Please, because I think I came across a document that proved it to me, which was this one here, because this one, the 5-bedroom one, it's only really got space for 2 cars
Yeah.
in the front. So I think that one, by definition,
Yes,
you know, is a refusal.
yes.
So, and also I understand the problems with the neighbours because you've got all these cars, they're all packed
They're
on
all
the
really-
On the corner again, isn't
And
it?
then
Well, it's called it, and it's a slightly oddly shaped,
Yeah,
and yes, you've sort of got them,
yeah.
So when we first moved to Harpenden, we lived on Brackendale, which was like the one next
in
door.
the next door
Yeah.
one, yes.
And this is just, they're all so close together, and I just think that it's overdevelopment, there are like 1 or 2 houses down like that end that have tried to reface themselves like this one would have, but I just think it's, I completely agree with what you were saying, and I just can we just recommend refusal and
And this one, they're going to draw, they both try to get out of one.
That's right, they've
Just
done it
like that, you can reverse into your
yeah,
partner's
so
car.
Rosemary just showed me that, I made a mistake, there's 3 there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's
Well,
but
we're
it's
doing that
still,
because obviously
Still
two
still
development.
overdevelopment. But it's an overdevelopment, I mean, they're very, I mean, it's, yes, it is, I mean, actually, I suppose, I mean, it probably meets the requirements, but it doesn't need much amenity space, does it?
No,
it's
no, so
it's so packed.
it's just too
together.
cramped.
It's
So,
basic,
it's
anyway,
overdevelopment of the
it's
site,
Yeah,
lack of parking provision, and I think it should be refused.
Yes,
It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah,
yes,
recommended refusal,
Yeah.
yes.
overdevelopment of the site, and lack of parking provision.
Yes.
Happy with that?
there's an impact
Good.
on the...
Is everybody happy
And,
with
oh, so we've got a
Um,
vote. We've got a vote. We're all happy for refusal,
Yes.
right? Sorry, anybody was going to say?
I was going to say there's an impact on neighbouring properties because they're all...
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all really
Sorry, we
close
couldn't
together.
add back to it.
Yes.
If you're all happy with that,
Yeah,
my apologies.
all
No, no. I keep interrupting you. Sorry. Sorry about that. You are here. Right. So 6, 7, next over page 6, 7, Nickel Road was done. Demolition of side gates, Challenge, don't need to worry about that. Right, next one, 2018 2284, part single, part 2-storey front extension with raising of the ridge and replacement integral garage following demolition of existing front projection. Projection. 2-storey rear extension, roof lights to existing rear projection. Alterations to openings, 8 Allen Close. Well, any comments, or are we happy with what
That's laid out.
you said?
So, I mean, in the history it said raising a roof from there, wasn't it? but I don't know if it's a further raising. Well, I'm just thinking about the street scene, that was all. Just a little bit punchy.
Well, they raised the roof in 2009, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah. So we should have.
The ridge,
Yeah, so I think it's just
Yeah,
adding
that
some
was,
more
that was
bits.
the bit that was permitted, yes, in 2009,
Okay,
that's
so it's
the
already
bit,
been-
so they've done some
Yep.
changes to that permission, which is the front porch added to the garage, two-storey rear extension. They have got some Juliet balconies, bedrooms 1 and 3, but they are actually overlooking Greenland at the side of the property, so I didn't...
I could settle that.
Yeah.
Well,
I could live with that, you know.
Yeah,
That's good. Okay, so
yeah, anybody else?
subject to no loss of amenities to neighbouring properties would approve.
Yeah.
All happy?
Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. Right, 2018-2288, single story front, rear, 2 stories side, rear extensions, alteration to openings, and addition of side roof lights, 6 Horsley Road. I like what we said. Unfortunately, we can't work out what's going to happen to a neighbouring property, but subject to neither of the neighbours are subjected.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with what we've said.
Okay, yep.
Is everybody else happy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Right, the next one's certificate of lawfulness. Amazingly enough, High Elms again. But this is just adding solar panels. So we don't discuss that anyway, but it's High Elms is High Elms. Right, next one, 2018-2081, installation of lighting columns and alterations to the car park layout. Southbound Road is the co-op.
Well, I noted that there is a response, the environmental response is that there is insufficient information to determine if there will be a detrimental effect on neighbouring properties. Yes, that's on the website.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
If you look at the planning website, that comment is there on the environmental.
Right. So I can't quite work out what they want to change the configuration of the car park, which is always a nightmare,
Yeah.
because the spaces are so narrow. And for
Yeah.
large cars that use
They're
it,
splitting it, instead of you having to go all the way around, they're splitting it in
what
half.
way?
Well, that'll take
So you
places
could
away,
go-
won't it?
Yeah, so you can go round, halfway round.
Right, rather than going right
Well,
through
that's
that.
going to mean fewer spaces, won't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, and also what they're doing, they're putting the lamp at the other, because they've got a lamp there and a lamp there, I think they're putting a lamp at the
So
other
I
end.
just think we just need to note that there is a comment, that there is insufficient information for it to be determined if there's a detrimental effect on neighbours. I think we need to take good guidance on that.
Yeah. So, what was that? Yeah, we can put that down. So, possible detrimental effect on neighbouring properties with the installation of the lighting columns.
Could I just...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, after you.
Just as an issue, but I suppose they're putting in for this, because the co-op don't own the car park.
No, it's about church.
It's owned by the church.
Although they do issue parking tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways, having some of you has to drive around that car park
Well,
so
exactly.
often. I'm happy for it to be a gap halfway down,
Yeah.
although it probably will mean we'll probably lose 4 parking spaces.
Yeah. And at certain times of the day you can't...
Well, there's no parking there.
I'm not, you
So-
can choose what time I'm going down.
I mean, for security reasons, the light at the end will light up the alleyway
Yes.
that goes through to the fish and chip
I mean,
shop.
you need the
That's,
light.
that's
Yeah, so that alleyway is not lit at night.
You get the lighting.
So that provision, and indeed most of the properties backing onto there
Yeah.
connect to the shops.
Yeah, but they're flats above.
No, but most of the flats are connected to, lots of them are connected to people who work below. They're not
Yes.
sold off separately.
Oh, are they?
No, there's some that are, but some of them are linked. So, for security reasons at night, I'm not anti, although I would like to think that it was a downlighter
Yeah.
and not lighting up the whole.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just noticed there was
Yeah.
a comment.
Yes.
No, so I think we would go by, we need experts, and one of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think it's difficult to make comments on lighting standards when we
Which is
don't know.
something which is not.
Yeah.
So subject to no detrimental effect to residents of nearby properties. We're not against the installation of the lighting column,
Yes.
or indeed the car park layout.
Yes.
Saves petrol if you're going to go drive halfway around.
Yes.
But the possible loss of 4 parking spaces was a concern.
Yes.
Are you all happy with that?
Yeah.
I put words into it, but
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
right, okay, dokie.
Mind you, if you took, depends how they do it, because they took out some of those flowery beddy bits.
There's no them standing in them.
Oh, that's true.
But you want me to put lots of car parking spaces in?
Very, very true.
Yeah.
But they could make them square.
Yes.
I think
They take up a lot of space.
it is full, but obviously to drive halfway around and save half the people queuing to get around
Yeah.
the other way.
They could fill in the
Although,
of the rest.
if you've got 2 high-sided vehicles parked, trying to drive through,
It was chaos
Yes.
there the other morning. There was this great low loader with 2 skip things, 2 big things. Well, they weren't skips or contained things. I don't know what happened to them. They got them on the side and could get in or out and nothing could get across.
it's always a nightmare,
Get
especially
across the
the
curb.
post being collected.
Yes.
But the key parks in the middle. But anyway, so we'll watch that one with interest. Next one's variation of conditions. We're not going to worry about that. Next one's discharge of conditions. How do we worry about that? Right, we're up to 5/2018-2238, 2-storey front extension, single-storey rear extension, raising of the roof to provide loft accommodation with front dormer windows and roof lights, 13 Townsend Road.
Well, it's quite a big plot, because I have to say I went past it. I thought it was okay, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbours. I don't think anybody's objected, have they?
There's no objection on this.
There's no objection. Was there an objection?
No, I don't
No.
have any objections, I'm just concerned about the raising of the roof.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. Because I just felt that it was interesting to me because it was very different to the street scene, on the side. But if you look to the other side of the road,
Isn't it?
it's similar
It's very similar.
to what's on the other
Yes,
side
it
of
is
the road.
extremely similar to what's on the other side of the road, which is one reason I didn't still object.
I thought there was plenty of parking, plenty of space between the properties. So it was just really, I just expressed the concern over the street scene.
But it's difficult because it's not out of keeping with what's the other side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm open to
Well,
what we
it's
think.
just, no objection, just express concern over street scene.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Height, in brackets, height on this side of the road.
Yeah, height on the side of the road, yes.
It is pretty similar to the development.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the same.
It's almost a
So-
blueprint.
It is.
No objection.
It's a mirror image of more or less of what's across the
So
other side
saying
of the
no
road.
objection, subject to no loss of amenities to adjoining. Well, no one's objected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raise concern regarding the street scene in brackets height on this side. Height of
Ridge height on this side.
Yeah, ridge height on this side.
Yes.
On this side of Townsend Road. I'm not sure how much officers take into consideration street scene these days, but on the other hand,
Well,
I think
yes.
it's such a big difference to the other neighbouring properties.
yeah.
Yes.
I think it depends. I think they will when you're on a... if you're on one of the streets that has, you say, iconic and is a very very regular and very distinct view. When you've got a road like Townsend, which is very varied, I don't know how much.
No.
The funny thing was, on this side of the street, they were all very similar, all the houses.
Yeah, so we're saying street scene, we raise that.
Yeah. Right, so will we just say express concern regarding ridge height on this
On this side of
Yeah.
Townsend
Townsend
Road.
Road?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And subject to no detriment, any effect on neighbouring properties, or loss of amenities to the neighbouring property. No one said that, but we can't see on the back, well, that might or might not.
That's right. Did you get street scene in as well?
We put that,
Yeah.
yeah, ridge height on that side of Townsend Road.
Ridge height, yes, on the first one, it says street scene.
Well, it's just
And
the express concern on the street scene,
Street scene, bracket, ridge height.
ridge height on that side of the road.
You bracket this side of Sibley, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So this side of
Right.
Townsend.
Yep.
Right, are you okay? Well done.
Questions, Lily?
Right, next one, we've done 65 High Street. Next one, we've done Salisbury Avenue. Next one, no comment required by committee. Similarly, to be considered by committee. Right, 14 Browning Road. Have we done that tonight?
No, we did another one.
No, we did another one. Right, right.
Brown
So,
Road.
5/2018-2237, replacement dwelling with associated landscaping and parking, 14 Browning Road.
It's on the right-hand side, isn't it, as you come to the station? Yes, no, yes, it's near the house with the little tubs, isn't it?
Very difficult to read plans. I saw it on the internet.
Yes, they're extremely difficult to read.
There are two objections.
There's two objections, aren't there?
Extremely
Yeah.
difficult to... Oh yes, these were the ones which were very, very difficult.
And we've got six buildings.
Yes.
But,
See?
because I've been down this road, and the interesting thing is that bang in front of this house is a very mature tree. So it's very difficult to actually see the house on the other side of the road. So
Yes, it is.
I kind of felt that it wasn't going to be a problem in doing it, actually. Although some people have objected, saying it's going to have an effect on the street scene and everything, but I just felt there was loads of parking in front, and they're big
Especially if
plots.
it's been, yeah.
Yeah.
There's... Yeah.
So your views?
Effect on neighbours? Anything? Anybody? I mean, people have rejected as open neighbours,
Yes.
haven't they, for the...
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I couldn't quite work out what was going to happen. And it's a replacement dwelling. But they're really going to fill the plot.
They are going to fill the plot.
I think the street view could. I mean, the thing is, the ridge height is considerably higher.
Yes,
than
it's a
the
lot
adjoining-
higher.
So
Can we say express concern regarding impact on neighbouring property?
Because of the plan of the ridge height.
Yes, because of the ridge height.
it is quite a considerable ridge height.
It is.
It's 3 stories,
It's
isn't it?
huge. It is considerably higher.
Maybe I got behind the tree. Maybe it really does have an effect on the street scene in the sense
Yes,
that
it does.
it's. I don't know why they have to go for a 6th bedroom. You know what I mean? It's like,
Okay. Well, maybe we go express concern regarding impact on neighbouring property and street scene. Maybe,
bracket ridge height.
yeah.
If you look at that geology, you see, think of that top bit there.
Well, I'd go, but I'd say I'd express concern over development in terms of...
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously big.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean, the rest of it is all right. I just thought that maybe it's almost a refusal to just cut
Right.
that.
Well, it's because of its height.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not just its height. It is actually. I think it's an overdevelopment of its height.
Okay. So are we saying we recommend refusal?
Yeah, we've said
Yeah.
nothing to recommend refusal.
Discussed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of overdevelopment of the site, and qualified by saying the ridge height, you know, effect on the street scene.
It's an excessive ridge height.
Yeah.
Yeah, excessive
Ridge height.
excessive ridge height with its effect on the street scene. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's quite a lot higher, isn't it? That's the first thing.
Substantial.
So yeah, I'm happy to say that.
Well, they didn't give a vast amount of information.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Right, impact on neighbouring properties and streets, do you know the development of site, reference refusal?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Mhm.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep. They're very faint drawings as well.
Hearing at them on screen.
Next one's
Yeah.
fencing. We're getting there. Recommended no objection. Does not meet the criteria. Does not meet the criteria. Does not meet the criteria.
Next
Does not
one's
meet
at
the
the bottom of
criteria.
29.
Does not meet the criteria. Does not meet the criteria. Does not meet the character. Right. Next one really we just ought to have a quick look at the replacement dwelling at 45 West Common Way. I can't see any reason for this. It's a big plot.
A resubmission of the 2015 scheme.
Okay, yes.
Okay, then.
Yeah, time of that. It's exactly the
Yes.
same
And it was permitted, so we
Yeah,
can't, we
no
can't refuse.
objection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
But
objection.
I know we recommended refusal,
But it was,
but
it was
was passed by
granted,
St
so
Albans.
we've got no grounds, so just,
Yep.
no objection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave it. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Well done. So does not meet the criteria. Cocking. 5018-2097. Part single, part 2-storey side and rear, infill extensions with green roof and lantern light following demolition of existing single-storey structures to provide one hotel bedroom and additional internal dining area. Internal alterations and refurbishment to existing buildings, including new air extractor unit, resurfacing of existing flat roofs, alterations to existing garage, revised parking arrangements, new landscaping including new covered pergola and outside seating, railing to the top of the existing front wall, totaling 1.49 metres, at the old cocking. I mean, without being unkind to anybody, none of us really are qualified to work out about extraction units or
No, I
redesign
have no idea.
parking.
No,
So,
I looked at this.
I mean, to my knowledge, no one's objected to this.
No.
No.
It's just really tidying up their back.
Yes.
I don't have
And
any
only one
objection in
bedroom.
principle, and I think it's good to add more bedroom space to the...
Well, as you
Oh,
know, there is no bedroom
Yes.
space
And I don't think it
in
would affect the
hotels.
church view, and that is covered by law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's listed and it's covered by law.
The bedrooms are
church.
infill, is it?
Yeah, the bedroom's filling in that space there.
I'd say no objection, subject to all, like, things being complied with.
Yes, all being complied with,
All
Yes.
reservations.
because it's conservation area and all
Yes.
this, isn't it?
Yes, and I mean... I
Yeah,
think
so it's
because-
conservation area,
yes,
subject to
Yes,
complying with conditions in the conservation area.
Yeah.
And that the expert officers
yes.
made the
And-
recommendation.
And the church view, which is protected by the 1990 Act.
Yeah,
Right,
so we've got that down. Complying with rules to the conservation area.
And you might want to say, and the protected views, I was thinking it says church and churchyard.
Well, detrimental effect on neighbouring properties, yeah.
Yes, well that, no, that's specifically covered by law.
Okay, right, so, views,
They are specifically protected. Because by under the 1990 listed buildings and conservation area. Because it's the church and churchyard are grade 2 listed, and it includes
Yes.
contributions made by settings are protected. Which I think that people apply, I think that's okay.
it's localised.
Locally listed buildings.
So
yes,
the officers have got to decide whether,
the church is nationally listed.
right, we move forward, 2018-2131, demolition of existing bungalow and construction of 2 3-bedroom semi-detached dwellings with basements, new vehicle crossover and associated landscaping, 22 Spencer Road. So, open to, I don't know what.
Right. This one's what? I actually put no objection, provided no loss of ownership to those properties.
Well, there's no objections on the internet, is there?
No.
There are, actually.
Oh, there are? Oh,
Are
I've missed them, have I?
So,
That was good.
right, so there is one dated 10th of September. They're writing to object. It's unacceptably high and overbearing. Have a negative impact on the character of the neighbourhood in Spencer Road, which is a conservation area. Development includes a basement, so development. They talk about structural damage, but that's really the
That's building regulation, yeah.
And then I think it was just that one objection.
Sorry, I missed it.
So what? It's quite interesting going down here because I'm sure that this little bungalow, probably all the houses nearby the little bungalows.
Yeah.
And so I felt actually the bungalow looked out of place now. Actually.
I don't really have it. I feel like we've seen something similar before, and I don't have an issue with the bungalow being replaced.
Yeah.
And the only concern that I can see is from the height of the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the parking is limited around there. Actually.
So it's got accommodation on the roof, has it?
Yeah, I think it
Sorry,
has.
I looked at so many, it's got...
Why don't we say express concerns
4 stories.
regarding parking and
Three
roof?
beds, 2 parking.
Oh, both properties, have
Yeah, you see, so if we look at this projected street scene here, this one next door has already got bedrooms in the loft, you see what I mean? It's that one that's slightly out of place, so it's just really, I don't think that's much higher than this ridge height, really.
Yeah, I'm not overly opposed to it, to be honest.
It feels like that's square foot.
Why don't we just do like subject, no objection subject to no loss of neighbouring property? Because I don't think there will be any anyway, but then we just
Well,
I
didn't see anything
Yeah.
to object to on it.
Do we want to say subject to no detrimental effect? Because the property's quite close.
Yeah.
Right,
What,
yes.
because they've got 2 next door, haven't they? That are just
Yeah,
fairly
yes.
bizarre.
Yes, they've been done, they're all fairly
The
recent.
same,
They're
yeah.
just good
So
colour.
it is, but obviously,
I don't know if there's a lack of parking, because I mean, we know they're doing basements and they could always become a bedroom.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 car parking spaces in front.
and they've already said 3 bedrooms, but we know basement could be 2 other bedrooms.
That's right, yes. Yeah, so we could just express concern over
Yeah.
parking.
Possible use of-
Keeping with the awarding buildings or the others.
We could say
Yeah.
concern over possible conversion to bedrooms of basement accommodation, which would then cause...
Yes.
Which would then cause insufficient parking.
Yeah.
Something like putting a gym.
How does that sound?
Yeah, but different people use it for different things.
So no, I think there's no objection in principle, you know, but concern if the basements are converted to bedrooms, will there be sufficient parking?
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to word that. Can you get that wording on it? Concern was... The committee raised concern with the possibility of basement accommodation being used as bedrooms, which would cause a lack of parking.
Yeah.
We've covered ourselves both ways then.
I think so, yes.
If you're all happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go along quickly. We've only got one more to do. That's 5/2018 2319, change of use to convert 1 2-bedroom flat into 2 one-bedroom flats at 104 High Street. Which shop's that about?
I'm trying to remember.
You can tell the picture, can you?
Oh, it's right at the very end.
Yes, it was
Oh, it's a Chinese
Yes, it's right at the far end.
takeaway.
Yeah.
So just where the...
Yes, I'm just it's by Kirkdale.
Oh, it's the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes,
As was, it's been
As
up
was.
there for ages.
yes.
I mean, the only thing is,
Yes, well,
I didn't have a problem with it because I thought...
I mean, it's been empty for so long.
Yeah.
I actually would just like it used.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought a one-bedroom flat might be a good idea. Yeah.
I didn't see anything wrong with them. I thought they were okay.
Yeah,
I thought they were fine.
I'm not anti,
Yes.
as long as it gets used and as long as, I'm presuming that the person who's going to buy the shop wants to get the maximum value out by making sure that upstairs is used fully.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's
The
right.
way they've laid them out, it seems perfectly sensible to me.
Yes,
So
I
it-
thought it was quite a good layout for the one
And I
bedroom
don't think
flat.
we need to worry about neighbours, because the neighbours is just Kirkdale Road,
Yes.
and with the hotel on the other side of the road. Wouldn't that have any effect?
Yeah.
No, so,
Yeah.
I'm not, no objection.
Okay.
No, I've got no objection.
No objection.
No objection. Correct. Sold.
I thought they were quite sort of decent one bedroom flats actually.
Yeah. Next one, certificate of lawfulness, we don't want to do, which has gone to the end of the list.
Got 2 there.
Oh, recommended.
All right, I think I've had to sort out.
Right, so, just going back to page, where it was, agenda-wise. Thank you for that. That was as long a list as I think I ever remember.
As long as we've had for a long old
So,
time.
do we have any appeals? We haven't got any in the system. Thank you. Do we have any prior notifications?
No, you have no prior notifications.
Cool. Right, so, yeah, so we've got the list of St Albans attendance where it is, application for tree works, we don't get involved. The next meeting, we plans North meeting on Monday the 1st of October. Sadly, I will not be there. I couldn't find a volunteer to do it for me. Being a wet conference. I didn't ask Rosemary, because Rosemary's diary is usually chocolate. Well, she's sitting there anyway, don't
I
you?
couldn't do anything.
You can't do it, you don't
I can't do it. I'm not meant to do it.
No, of course not. No, I understand. And so the next meeting for Plans A will be the 9th of October, and probably for us 3 weeks later. So, can I thank you all very, very much? I close this meeting at 9:38. Do you want to escape quickly? We're going to train.